Hi there, Toria here, and this is another video on dealing with life, basically. I thought I may as well try and get into the trying to explain to you how things go on rather than just talking to you about my life, basically. So this video, as says in the title, is 5 things I wish I knew before living on my own, basically. I've been living on my own now for about a year. I'm only 23. So I mean, I was kind of late to moving out really. Other people move out when they're going into college and university, and I moved out when I didn't even go to college or university, so I didn't get that freedom of university. I moved out once I got kind of more comfortable with working and everything. So this is kind of this is what I've done in the later years of moving out. So this won't be a what to do in university type of thing. As much as I kind of have some knowledge of shared housing, I've kind of moved straight in with my boyfriend once we've gotten both relatively financially stable. So we're now living in this house together, and it's wonderful, it's great. There are a couple of things that obviously do come up when you start living on your own without parental guidance, I guess. So these are the 5 things. The first one is everything will get messy very, very quickly. I'm just gonna leave that out. Everything will get messy very, very quickly, so you need to be able to really sit down and see where your problem areas are. Obviously the kitchen and the living room do get the most traction, but it's also things like hoovering your bedroom, is cleaning the floor however way that you need to. Some people have wooden floors, I have carpeted floors here, so I hoover through every week that I physically can't bother to do it because of mental health issues. And you will get to a point while living in your home where you feel like everything's a mess, everything's on top of you, and it may just be that you may want to spend one day scrubbing the kitchen. It may not be entirely scrubbing the kitchen, but at least you've cleaned one aspect of your house. And as much as people want you to have a gleaming, lovely house every single time that they walk in, it's good to show that you're showing an effort really, and even if it's not to somebody else, that it's to you, because at the end of the day, if you have a messy home, you have a messy head, and clutter and literal dirtiness, it doesn't help with everything that's going on mentally and inside of you at the same time. If you've got a messy house, you've got a messy head all at the same time. But it's something that I've experienced myself. If you've got a messy house, you've got a messy mind, and it just all tumbles like that, it all makes everything 10 times worse, especially with your mental health. I like to do this thing where I bring things to the right rooms as I'm walking out of the room that I'm in. So say I'm in my bedroom and I've got a mug. So I've got my mug of water with me today. This is my V mug because my name is Victoria, and as much as I go by Toria for everything, my best friend is also a V starting name, so we like to play on the fact that we're V and V. So like that, every morning, well, every evening I bring a mug of water up with me. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, really, really thirsty, I got it there on my windowsill because I don't have a bedside table. I've got it there on my windowsill if I ever need it. So every time that I open my curtains up in the morning, I can be like, okay, there's a mug of water there, or an empty mug that needs to go downstairs with me. So that's something that I try and bring in with everything. Every time I have a shower and come upstairs, because my bathroom is downstairs, I make sure to take my towels down with me and everything that I need back down with me. So it's just making sure that everything that you move from their specific place that they need to be gets put back in that specific place that they need to be. So for example, if you've got specific places for your hairbrush or little trinkets that you have around, if your sunglasses live somewhere specific, then it's good practice to keep putting those back where they need to be. On that same respect is making your bed every single day. It is crucial to be able to come back at the end of the day and see that your room is tidy. My bed was like this morning. It wasn't made just before I sat down to film, it was like this morning. I do not want to walk back upstairs at the end of the day and see that my room is in absolute state. I've lived 20 years of my life in a very, very messy room, and I refuse to let this room get to it. There are some things in this room now that really shouldn't be here, but in all honesty, I've not gotten to the point yet where I'm like, this is getting me mad, so I'm going to chill on it for a few days and then take it. And that's the whole thing. It's not punishing yourself as soon as you see it and you don't take it, when you come back to it and you still feel like shit because you haven't taken it. It's the fact that sometimes things do take a process, and especially if you suffer from something called executive dysfunction. I don't know if it's really going to be out there for anybody. I genuinely think that it is all down to executive dysfunction, when people call you lazy because you won't tidy your room when you could be laying on your bed and thinking for 10 minutes or an hour or 2 hours or 2 days or 2 weeks, I really need to tidy my room or my kitchen or my bathroom or whatever, and you just physically cannot do it. But say if I'm having a very chill day, then I can say, okay, well, I've done this for 20 minutes, which maybe might be playing on my phone for 20 minutes, so why not do something more? If it only takes me 2 seconds to put all the clean dishes away that I did yesterday, then why not do it? Even if it doesn't mean starting new dishes, at least the draining board or the dishwasher is ready for the next load of dishes to be done. See, I feel like I went on a massive tangent on that, so if you want another video of executive dysfunction or cleaning a house or like cleaning schedules, then please write a comment and I will go over that a little bit more. The second thing is that bills are very confusing. I think that it's stupid that schools and colleges do not really like enforce the ideas of how to live as a real adult other than in work and in play. Like, they can help you with what you need to do for school, what you need to do for uni, what you need to do for working in a job, but they don't teach you how to pay your bills, how to really help in the way of saving money and learning politics in a way that isn't from your parents, that isn't a way that's so specific to them, and it could be the wrong way or a bad way to do it. There could be thousands of better ways. And that's what I think his school is really lacking on. The way that I really thought about bills was looking on comparison websites, looking through specific websites on their own. I think there's a couple of like utility suppliers that don't show on comparison websites. So if you really do your research in it, you may get a better deal than if you did anywhere else. So it's really good to do more research and more thinking into it. I did the internet and the internet provider, so I did that research and researched loads of different companies and everything. I didn't need a Skybox, I didn't need a Virgin box. All I wanted was some fast internet for streaming videos, like on Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, and I wanted it so I could play video games and download games and things like that, and both me and my boyfriend play online, so it's something that we needed specifically. The only reason that I have a phone line is because it was cheaper with the internet. I think that you have to have the phone line there to have the internet. We don't have a phone plugged in, we haven't even bought a landline, but we have a landline for like a house phone, if you get what I mean, and I think that's normally with most providers. So you really just need to get into researching everything you've got. Don't just go with whoever was there when you moved into the house, like if it was British Gas or I can't think of the Welsh Water, I was going to say Dŵr Cymru, but like obviously that's very specific to Wales, but in the like Scottish Energy or whatever it is, like you really need to like go into researching about like the different ones, because if you walk into a house that has Welsh Water and you don't really like Welsh Water, or you think that it's too expensive and you can't afford their rates, then you can have a look onto any of the other utility providers basically. Number 3 is talk to your roommates / partners, your boyfriend, girlfriend, anyone who it is. If you've moved out of your parents' house but your mother comes over and stays over, then it's good to just talk to people and set up those guide rules, that like the rules of the house basically. It is your house now, and if somebody walks in and kind of does something that makes you feel uncomfortable, then you should really speak up and say something about it. And even if it is people that live with you, it's also good to say something before you start to get very annoyed about it. I know that there's been times while living here that I've gotten upset about like little things, and so has my boyfriend. So it's just one of those things that open communication is key. Even if they're not your boyfriend, it's still good that if your roommate is doing something that you don't like, that you say something, and if they don't do it, then there's not much more you can do. Obviously you can't be like, come on, you know, you're being an ass or whatever. You need to be more polite about it. But if they do get to the point where they are taking the mick, especially with paying bills, then you really do need to push yourself and say something. If you just suffer in silence, then it's obviously going to be a problem. I spent months and months and months dealing with my boyfriend smoking in the living room and dealing with breathing in secondhand smoke. I'm not a smoker myself, and it did become a problem for me, and I did snap and I did have a go, when in reality I should have just said, do you mind smoking at the back door? I would prefer it. I don't like breathing secondhand smoke. Even though he knows all that, it's still something that like you should say it even if you think they already know. You know how you know what I mean? Like with things like cleaning up dishes after yourself, I'm a sucker for not wanting to do dishes because I do them every single day. You can just politely ask, and if they say no, and if they, you know, fight back at you and get defensive, then you kind of got to reassess who you're living with at the same time. If they want to work together and they're like, yeah, sure, I'll do it whenever, or you can make a cleaning schedule, so on Monday you can clean the bathroom and do the dishes and make sure that like your bedroom's hoovered, and then or like they can make sure that their bedroom's hoovered on like a different day because you'll have the hoover that day, or whatever else, and making sure that like you split up the days of doing the dishes. And then if they're still not doing things like the dishes or sweeping through the living room or whatever else, then you can kind of bring it up again and be like, this clearly isn't working, we need a new sort of like way of doing things. If it becomes with maintenance, maybe rather than like one person paying for it, that like the both of you pay for it, it kind of gets a little bit like awkward when it comes to like separate bedrooms. But if it's something that would benefit the whole of the house, like say like there's like electrical plugs or something that need to be redone, then both you can pay for the electrician to come out and do it. Or if you're asking for the landlord to do it, then obviously you're saving a little bit of money. But if you've bought a house and you're living with a partner and you're buying, like you've bought it, it's your house, then paying for it equally is 110% the best thing that you can do. If you feel like your boyfriend has to pay for everything that you're getting, then you're not living in that house like equally. You really need to show that you're 110% in this as well as them being 110% in it, because otherwise you will get resentful. You will get like the angry that like maybe the other person isn't paying enough bills but they're going out every weekend, or they're saying that they'll pay next month's rent, and you pay all of this month's rent, and then it gets around to it and you're paying next month's rent again. You really like, or if it's you, if your roommate is telling you that you need to keep up with the cleaning, or if you need to do the dishes when you're asked, or make sure that your dishes are cleaned up after you, because that's something that is the most infuriating thing as well, is when you don't do your own dishes expecting other people to do them for you. So it's just really listening to your roommates and talking when you need to talk, when saying things that you need to say, as well as listening to what they have to say. So that's just the main thing, is really open communication with every single person that you live with, even if it's only one person. I can't say anything for children because I don't have any, so I'd suggest maybe looking at other like family people for that sort of thing, of like opening up communication on like doing things with chores or rewards and punishments, I guess, but that's not something that I can really talk about because I don't have children. Moving on to the next one, the fourth one is be prepared for people to judge you. As soon as you invite somebody over to your house, they will judge every single little thing that you have done. Me and my boyfriend have bought this house, so we have done it up since we've got it. We have like improved things. We have never done like papering before, like the type of like, I can't think of the word now, like wallpaper. We've never done wallpapering before, so we asked my boyfriend's uncle to do it, and he kind of rushed it. As much as I like can appreciate everything that he's done for us, because he's also helped us out in the rest of the house, it's kind of something that I have to look at every single day, and it does kind of bug me that a lot of things in this house were rushed because it was coming up to Christmas and nobody really wants to do work around Christmas. So it's just one of those things that I wish things were done better, because people do come in and look at it and will judge it and they will say something. We haven't finished everything in the house, so there are things in the house that do look a bit tatty and they do look like they could use like some TLC. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, you can kind of appreciate the fact that we've gotten this far and everything takes work. We're not getting contractors in apart from things like gas and electric, things that need like a certified person. It's not like something that like we can't really do, but even with decoration, when people come in and look at how we've like made the living room over, I can see that they're looking at everything because they're obviously going to judge everything that you're putting up, everything that you're decorating with when it comes around to Halloween or Christmas or anything that you celebrate in America. You got Thanksgiving and you like celebrate them to 110%. For me and my boyfriend, we are minimalists. I'm going to put up a simple tree at at Christmas, and I'm going to put up maybe a couple things for Halloween for like kids and stuff when they knock the door, if they knock the door. You know, it's just one of those things that I'd rather be prepared than not at all. So you really have to think that, do you want to be in that mindset of keeping up with the Joneses, or do you want to be in that mindset of listening to your surroundings, to your heart of how you want your house to look like? Or are you really like looking at the like type of how you want other people to view your place? If you've grown up in a house where you don't agree with how your parents are decorating it, or it's not in with the fashion at the moment, as much as I don't say don't go with the fashion and stuff, if your parents are still living in a house that looks like it's from the 70s, then obviously you're going to want to live in a house that looks like you're still living in present day. So it's just one of those things that like, you don't want to be copying what everybody around you's doing, but you also don't want to be not being your true self. I love this blanket and I don't want to take it off to clean it every single week, but I do, and I put on one that I'm like don't really like care about, but this is like my favourite one. I could like flip it over and like have this side on it for once in a while. I think I might do that next time I clean this, because it's a lot more simple, and I've been wanting a blanket that's like a lot more simple, but I don't know, it's one of those things. That's the whole thing, is if it's your style then you should buy it. If you want like little decoration trinkets in the living room, then that's wonderful. Me as a minimalist, I have very, very little stuff in the living room. I would show you, but it's in the middle of the night. Like literally the only reason that this room is lit up is because I've got a light bulb in front of me. I obviously don't have like big like circle lights. I don't know if this room is yellow at all. My phone's gone yellow because of the time of the night. It's literally like 9 o'clock right now, so I'm not going to keep this video going on much longer. The last point is enjoy your space. Enjoy everything that you can be able to do in it. Don't feel like you need to sit in the bedroom every single day because that's what you've done growing up. Don't feel like you can't use the bathroom in the middle of the night because your parents hate it when you flush the toilet in the middle of the night. Don't feel like you can't make a cake at 2 o'clock in the morning because you wouldn't be able to do that when you were younger. It's your space, it's your life. If you don't want your TV on the wall and you want it on a TV stand, then do that. If you don't want a coffee table because you think it clutters up the room, then don't buy one. If you want a desk in your bedroom, wonderful. But if you've gotten sick of having every single little thing that you have in your bedroom, put it downstairs, put it in the spare bedroom, have an office. You know, it's all these things that this is now your space. It's now your place that you should really, truly, 100% love entirely. You know, you may not entirely love your neighbours, but at the end of the day, you don't have to speak to everyone around you. I don't think I've spoken to my neighbours since I've moved in. One side is, to be fair, it is a funeral care home, so I don't need to speak to that side, but I'm still civil with them every single time. In the first couple of months that we moved in here, we were ripping down walls and hammering and stuff like that, and she knocked on the door once, like the receptionist, and we were like, oh my god, she's gonna tell us to like shut up basically. But no, she just asked us for a hammer so she could put something up on the wall, and that's something nice. But me and my boyfriend are very like antisocial. We talk to people who we talk to and our friends, but we don't go out trying to make new friends all the time, and especially not with neighbours, because then it kind of makes like a false thing. As much as we are like civil people, we're not going to make arguments or anything. That's too close for comfort, you know what I mean? Like every time you leave the house and you see them, you have to make a like smile and like make conversation, when we've kind of made it now that we don't have to speak to our neighbours at all. So it's just kind of one of those things. It's silly. It's amazing living on your own. It's absolutely wonderful. I don't think I could ever go back to living with my parents or living with like 10 roommates, as much as that isn't really normally a thing. But I think that for the rest of my life now, I'll either live alone or with my boyfriend, depending on how this goes. Obviously I want it to go forever, but shit happens, doesn't it? But that's the whole thing, is live to your means, live to how you want to live, and don't think about other people. You will be judged, you will be criticised, you will be told that you're not doing something right, whether it's cleaning your house or not dusting often enough or not changing your bedding often enough. But at the end of the day, it's how you want to live your life. So if you take anything from this video, then that's amazing. That's all I could ask for, and I will leave it off here rather than talking on for another 20 minutes. So I will leave you here. I hope you've enjoyed. Please like, subscribe. It really doesn't matter, as long as you're getting the content from me that you want. If you don't, then walk away. I really don't mind. So that's it. I'm gonna go now. So I will speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.